Good morning and welcome to Crow Inclined. Here today with a daily energetic check-in. I am using the Enchanted Map Oracle deck, and our card of focus today is Bone Collector. Yeah, that is card number 1 of this oracle. It's a beautiful image. Seems very healing to me. And it is. I mean, the Bone Collector talks about, you're a lot more whole than you think you are. Okay, and that you have everything that you need within. So when the Bone Collector appears, you're supposed to look a little closer at your circumstances and see if you're actually really fully present in it, or if you're reacting out of past conditioning or unconscious expectations. Okay, and what it means by that is when we're young and we're wounded, it's kind of like we have something stolen from us. But we adapt, and then we accept a version of a truth that kind of sets us up to behave a certain way when we are in similar situations as we get older. And by doing that, by allowing past situations like that, especially as children when we don't really understand fully what's going on, allowing that to influence our perception of what's happening to us, because it's similar, it kind of sets us up for limiting ourselves, right? It's a limitation. Okay. It can be restrictive for us. So the Bone Collector reminds us that the truth is actually you're incredibly powerful being with limitless possibilities. Okay. And it's time to reclaim it. So the Bone Collector collects the things from our woundings, okay, and holds on to them for when we're ready to get them back. And now is the time to get them back. Okay. The Bone Collector is or acts as like an inner resource for you right now, reminding you that anything is possible. Okay. Everything that you need is within you. Okay, that's a beautiful message. I really, really like that message, because we can sort of get into a pattern of always comparing situations to other situations when in fact it's possible it's a brand new situation, and we don't know how to traverse it, right? And when we try to attach it to something, it does become restrictive. And that does lead to sort of a controlling situation where we're trying to control whatever it is because we think we know what's going to happen, right? I have the Wandering Star today. We're going to dig into this message here a little bit. I hope you're all well. Thank you so much for being here. Here, I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit. I don't know what happened. Got a little closer. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Happy to be with you on your journey. Happy to have you along with me on mine. I think this is wonderful. So please take these messages as they resonate. I'm super, super honored to be able to bring them to you. But it is a reading for the collective. Okay, this is not a one-on-one. So this is your opportunity to flex that discernment muscle. Practice makes perfect, and it only strengthens our intuition. Okay? The Bone Collector says anything's possible. You have everything within you. Time to reclaim your power. Okay? And look at that, right out of the gate, we have the Ace of Swords. Okay? Change, decision, and action. It's also a card of success. Clarity. The truth shall set you free. I'm not sure why I said that. That's for someone. Getting to the truth of the matter. Remember, the Bone Collector talks about, we can sort of label our experiences based on past perceptions of past experiences, thus limiting ourselves. So when we get to the truth of the matter, Well, we have clarity. There's no confusion, there's no doubt, there's no fear. That's the blessing of the Ace of Swords. That's the gift. Um, that's the gift from Spirit, right? In your energy, the Hierophant, you already know this. A wise, wise being. Look at these two. The bone collector collects the wounds and waits for you to return to pick up the pieces that sort of shattered off, right? The Hierophant is more about structure, but it could be a mentor. Maybe you're a mentor for somebody else. It could be a teacher. It could be about ritual. All kinds of cool things. Structure. So knowledge, wisdom, maybe you're seeking all of the knowledge and wisdom right now, and if you are, that is beautiful, because that does lead you right back to the bone collector, which is going to bring you in some truth about something going on in your life, or something has happened in your life that you're ready for. You're ready for the truth of something. Okay, keep in mind the Five of Swords. So upheaval, conflict, loss. It's a fighty energy, right? It can be kind of a bully energy, and I really feel like with the Five of Swords that sometimes, well, it's a card of winning at all cost, okay? And I think sometimes we can forget what we're fighting for, or what we're fighting about, right? I think we've all been there, where we have an argument with someone and it just spirals into all these other things, and pretty soon no one knows how it even started. Okay, and that's okay, because if we don't know how it started, there's something about this. Then here we are with this Ace of Swords, right? How did it start? You're going to get the clarity about that. You're going to get the clarity and the truth about that. And you're fine. You're strong and sturdy with this Hierophant energy in your energy. This wisdom and knowledge. Okay, under that Ace of Swords, we have the Page. So the Page is all about, getting to higher ground, and really seeing what's going on around you. Okay, you can see everything coming at you, wielding this little miniature sword of truth, right? There's going to be little epiphanies, right? It's all going to come together and make sense. You're going to have this huge truth coming in, because you're ready, right? The bone collector says you're ready. Come and get it, okay? Come and get your truth. And it shows up here as this Ace of Swords. Once that happens, I feel like a lot of things are going to kind of fall into place, right? A lot of other things are going to make some sense. So you're going to have some truth and clarity about something here, about whatever this conflict is. And then you can be like, oh, well, now that makes sense. Okay. Oh, and that makes sense now. And so it's going to really pull some things together for you. And it doesn't feel bad. It actually feels really good. I think it's going to give you some relief. I say that, and then we have the Five of Cups. Which is a card of sorrow and loss and leaving. But that's okay. It's okay to grieve. I think that we really do have to acknowledge our emotions. We have to acknowledge them, because, they come from somewhere inside of you. They mean something. Okay? They do really mean something. And so go ahead. Have your sorrow and your loss, whatever. The fives are a breakthrough card. So when we talk about leaving, okay, you're going to go through your sorrow and your grief over the cups that spilled. Then you're going to be able to turn around and look at the two that are still upright. Okay. So this is really about getting over, something that really hurt your heart. But it's time to leave it behind. That's why we have the Ace of Swords coming out for you with this clarity. This is why we have the Page of Swords, you know, being vigilant and seeing things through the filter of the truth, not through our perceptions based on past experiences. And under the Five of Swords, yeah, so we have 2 5s there. We have Temperance. It's a card of healing and moderation and balance. It's also divine timing. So it feels like, you know, this is something that you sort of had to work through, this murky water here, right? You needed to go through it in order to understand it. Hence the divine timing. This is a card of patience. So, you know, when we're healing, we have to be patient with ourselves, right? Because no one is going to understand what we're going through like we do. So nurture the self. I mean, I think that that this conflict or whatever, you know, whenever that happened, was meant to happen. Okay. Now the truth is going to come in about it. Under the Page of Swords, we have the Six of Wands. So it's a card of victory and triumph. This is a card of recognition, whether it's you're being recognized by a group or you're seeing something within yourself again. And with the Bone Collector, you know, saying, hey, come and collect all these pieces that have sort of shattered off from you, almost a little bit like soul retrieval. I think you're going to be recognizing parts of yourself that you may have forgotten. And maybe you left them behind because you didn't, you know, they shattered. Collecting pieces of the self. Being kind and compassionate with the self. Because you are in healing right now. But it's gonna, you're doing it. You're absolutely doing it. And you are going to be victorious. You are going to be successful in it. In however that works for you. Okay. And we have the Three of Pentacles in your energy. So this is a card of collaboration, working with a team, or mastering something and presenting it to an audience, for whatever that is, you know, art, or, you know, maybe your writing or your music or whatever creative kind of project. You know, now this does, because it's Pentacles, it does have to do with your stability in the material world. Okay. This is also a card of teaching and enterprise. It's a card of mastery. Three's your mastery. So there's something that you're working on. It's in your energy. Maybe you're going to be teaching. I mean, you have the Three of Pentacles and you have the Hierophant in this reading, in your energy. Maybe you're meant to teach or share experiences, right? Share your wisdoms. Maybe that's with that 3 coming up. Maybe that's something that you've been thinking about doing. You know, whether it's maybe you're writing your memoir, or, you know, just creating a space or a forum where people can have, you know, like conversations about things that are kind of hard. Or not, you know, just a safe space for people to go. The Eight of Wands just flew out when I was talking about having conversations, a safe place to have conversations. This, you know, the Wands are communication, and the Eight of Wands is really fast moving energy. So good news, travel, fast communication, you know, maybe, you know, once you understand what the truth is here and you're able to move forward and everything starts sort of clicking into place, it's going to start moving really, really fast. Now, 2 cards came out there, and the other is the Four of Swords, which means you're going to be able to rest and recover and have some quiet and peace and quiet, right? It may not feel like your world is peaceful and quiet right now. All right. Yeah, this really feels like it's a push through the energy, but you've got so much support here. just from within you and all around you. And I'm not just talking about people in the material world. It just really feels like you are protected by some really beautiful energy here. And we have the Hermit coming out. So yeah, this is another card of healing. You've been doing the work. This is really about inner work. This is the Seeker. You've gone within to figure out things about yourself. This is how we get to the truth of things. Okay, so you went the distance, and then you received the clarity. You received the Ace of Swords that cut away the doubt, the fear, the confusion more than anything. You know, I mean, it could be an aha moment, or, you know, just all of a sudden something makes sense that never made sense before. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's possible. Seven of Swords, yeah. Theft, dishonesty. This can be a card of betrayal. You know, maybe I mean, it is a betrayal on multiple levels, right? When we're wounded at a young age and we don't understand how we allow that to sort of shape our future, right? How we rely on old hurts to move forward. And that's actually not a bad thing, because it's part of our intuition, right? It's part of our discernment. But when we rely on it so heavily, as the Bone Collector says, it can sort of limit and restrict us in how we move forward. So yeah, the Seven of Swords, you know, and Swords are of the mind as well. So it's possible that because we've allowed past hurts to sort of mold our future, you know, that can be kind of a, how do I say that? I mean, I want to say it's kind of being dishonest with ourselves, but it's not really dishonesty if you think about it. But it's not an honest assessment either. I'm not sure how to explain that. It's more out of protection, right? And sometimes when we protect ourselves too hard, too much, you know, it doesn't allow for the truth to be seen and heard. Okay. And I think it can also keep people and events and situations that are important to us in life. I think it can kind of keep that at bay and not allow those energies in that we need to grow, right? So getting to the truth of the matter is really going to change a lot of things for you. I think this is really, really, really profound with this Bone Collector energy of saying, you know what, it's time. It's time to collect all those old wounds and see them for what they really are, because we really can turn them into something bigger than what they are in our minds. Swords are of the mind. And that can really also signify that it is really in our mind, possibly. So when we traverse this sort of soupy energy here, and we come out triumphant and victorious at the end here, and we're able to get the rest, and things start moving again in our lives, maybe you've been feeling a little stuck, then we have the Nine of Cups. Here's your optimism back, and your happiness, your vitality. You're going to feel so much better just to sort of be through the murky water of whatever this is that you're traversing through, right? Interesting. All right, let's see if anything else wants to come out. I think this is really beautiful for you. This because it shows movement, right? Look at that. Because it shows movement. Yeah, you're going to be able to start again. You're going to be able to get going again. Okay, it really does feel like maybe you were stuck for a little bit, but this is going to move. This is going to move. You're going to have some sort of clarity around something, and things are going to fall into place. The energy is going to move again. You're going to get some rest. You're going to heal, and you're going to start all over with the Fool card. I love this for you. This is fresh energy for a new beginning, right? And that's kind of what we do in life. We have endings and we have beginnings, endings and beginnings. Okay? That is your message for today. Thank you so much for being here. Like and subscribe, share with your besties, and I will see you next time.